Hello everyone. You have probably heard the term sexual hedonism, and sexual objectification is the perception of an individual only as a tool for sex. Often the parties involved are unaware of the concept of sexual objectification because the person who is already hedonistic about sex and perceives the other person only as an object of pleasure doesn't care about the other person's position. And the person who is perceived as an object of sex doesn't know that they are being used as a tool for sex. A sexual hedonist values the pleasure itself above all else in sex, perceiving everything else as a means to that pleasure. They perceive the other person as an instrument of pleasure in order to pursue the pleasure of sex, and are not concerned with the pleasure and happiness of the objectified person. They also assume that if they are satisfied and happy, the other person will be satisfied and happy. If you use everything you have to enjoy the pleasure of sex, and consider it to be the highest value and happiness, you are going beyond hedonism, especially if you are in a position of economic and social power. Sexual hedonism and objectification are more common among people with some degree of social power because they use their ability and power to realize their hedonism. This is because it is advantageous to have a certain level of wealth, status, popularity, etc., to use others as a tool for sex. Sexual hedonism and sexual objectification can occur easily as successful people lose sight of their life goals and indulge in the pleasures of sex. The perception that anything is possible if you have the ability only reinforces this distorted perception. Sexual hedonists are unable to escape the distorted pleasures of sex because they don't know the true flavor and coolness of sex. This is a phenomenon that has been primarily driven by men in the past, but in recent years it has also been driven by women. Once the pleasures of sex lead to addiction, you can never get out of it on your own. Sex is such a personal and secretive act that only the parties involved know about it, not the outside world. As sexual hedonism and sexual objectification progress, people no longer get pleasure and enjoyment from sex between a couple or with a lover and lose interest in it, so they seek out sex with different stimuli and seek endless variety in sex. They try to brainwash and persuade everyone around them to join them in their sexual hedonism and objectification. As the stimulation of sex becomes more and more intense, it spirals out of control and every aspect of their lives becomes related to sex. People who are sexually hedonistic and see others as nothing but objects of pleasure cannot address their condition on their own because they are so thoroughly mired in their own logic. They become dogmatic and closed off to sex styles that are different from their own, even though they think of themselves as open-minded with respect to sex. They are also very obsessive about sex, so what they think about once, they try to make happen. Their spouses often get caught up in this and slip into sexual hedonism with them. People who practice sexual hedonism and sexual objectification have lost the concept and value of proper sex and live out their sex fantasies, which is why they are so permissive about sex with others. Having pleasure is a fleeting moment, followed by a search for greater stimulation and pleasure. These people should be reminded of their true sexual capabilities with a detailed explanation of the need for change and to transition to feeling intense pleasure and happiness even from sex between two people in a normal relationship. Sexual hedonism and sexual objectification are a phenomenon that can happen to anyone, and many people are currently in quite serious conditions. There's nothing wrong with enjoying sex, but it needs to be done in the right way and with an awareness of the other person's true happiness. To do this, We need to first recognize the importance and value of human relationships. And then we need to educate ourselves about sexual empowerment so that we can enjoy the true flavor and beauty of sex. Surprisingly enough, most men want this. Women also need to know the value of true sexability and build their sexability so that they can escape and prevent the objectification of sex. Pursuing only the pleasure of sex will make your body and mind sick. Please keep in mind that you need to know the correct concepts so that you can know what true pleasure is and reach true sexual happiness.